again. This is Mike Lodge. I am the business advisor. I tell you, it's 89 degrees and it's hot. I'm trying to cool off my office. Unfortunately, the sun is hitting my office and it is hot in here. So I've got the fans going, I got the air conditioning going, and then we're starting to cool off. Again, I guess tomorrow we start cooling down. So if I don't come down with the flu from this weather change all the time, I would be surprised. I had a individual come to me this past week, and they wanted me to mediate a business dispute. And the gist of the story is an individual bought a business from another individual. There were some open issues that needed to be resolved, and there were some escrow accounts that were still filled with money that needed to be distributed. I approached the other individual. They both agreed to mediate. They both agreed to sit down and talk. However, the individual who is the seller came to me and goes, "Listen, I want you to read the contract, and I want you to give me an opinion on it." I said, "Wait a second. I'm a mediator. I'm not representing you. I'm not expressing an opinion. I am here to be neutral and to bring you guys together." He says, if you're not going to do that, then I'm not going to mediate. And I said, well, if you're requiring me to give you a legal opinion on a contract, I can't do it because that would be the practice of law. And mediators are not supposed to practice law when they do mediation. So he came back and said, fine, then I'm not going to mediate. Now, in his statements to me, it was the fact that I'm right, read the contract, and give me your opinion. And I can't do that. I have to stay neutral at all times in this mediation. I can't take sides. I can advise you on what might happen, but I can't tell you the law says this, this, and this, because then I would be advising you on the law, and I can't do that in mediation. My role is to bring you together. Let's look at the contract. I will formulate my questions about the contract. I will question you, what you understood and what the other person understood, but I am not going to, we're not in court. This is an open session. It's a voluntary session, and it's a purpose to resolve a dispute. But see, attitude changes everything. If you come into any type of negotiation thinking that you're right and you're going to get your way, then you are probably the worst negotiator ever. Because you know that in negotiations, there's some give and there's some take. There's some explaining you got to do. There's the ability to have a good argument, a good story to prove what you're trying to say. But it's also about the communication process between the mediator, and the mediator formulates the questions and asks the two parties that are before them, and to get them to see there is either a way to resolve it or there isn't a way to resolve it. But we always try to resolve it. 85% of the time we resolve the mediation. This is one time that we did not resolve the mediation because the other person decided to back out. He wanted his way. Attitude plays a part in negotiations. Attitude plays a part in relationships. Attitude plays a part in trying to get things resolved in a professional manner. Now, before you came to mediation, you were going back and forth, memo, email, text. It was going back and forth. So nothing was being resolved because you were in an argumentative state. That's not how you resolve conflict. You come with an open mind. You come with your position that you want to take. You come willing to listen, and you come willing to negotiate, and you come willing to resolve it. If you come with an attitude, nothing is going to get done. I have walked out of mediations where people were literally mad at each other before the mediation began, but when they ended, they were willing to do business with each other again. And we resolved the dispute, and we moved on. I've seen that happen time after time after time. I have seen families that I've gone into mediation thinking they were going to claw each other, and at the end, a fair and a balanced mediation was completed. An agreement was put into place. And those people are still coming back to me on other issues. Because mediation is not a place where you come in angry. If you come in angry, you are going to wreck the whole process of mediation. Not for the other person, but for yourself, because you are unwilling to resolve issues unless it goes your way. With your hate, with your anger, with your attitude. Attitude is the big word here. There have been situations where I have had 9 people in front of me trying to resolve a situation within a company. Did we resolve it? After about 2 hours, we did. We resolved it. We had an agreement. But I explained to them at the very beginning, if you're coming in here to fight, don't, because I won't accept it. But if you're willing to come in here and talk to each other professionally and hear each other out, we can resolve this. We did. We resolved it. And everybody went their way. Attitude. I tell you, I have seen so many bad attitudes. I have seen manipulative attitudes where they thought they could come in and manipulate the mediator. Oh, I've had that happen to me several times. But you see, the attitude gets caught. If you have a sneaky attitude, you're going to get caught. If you have a attitude that is going around the corner and trying to resolve something their way, trying to manipulate the mediator to convince the other person of what to do, it backfires every single time. You see, if you come into my office and if you sit down and we go through the process, I listen to your arguments, what I call opening statements. I have already made notes because I've reviewed all of your documents several days before. I have my questions formulated, and I'm willing to sit down with you and ask my questions based upon what I've read. I'm not making any judgments. I'm just throwing questions out for you to ponder. Because my questions are geared to resolve the issue, to see each other's point, to ask the questions, to give suggestions. My attitude is, I'm going to help these people. I am going to sit down with these people and I am going to work through this dispute. I don't have an attitude. I'm impartial. I'm neutral. But I have a lot of questions. I've read your documents. I've got a lot of questions. I hope that you're going to listen to them. I hope that you're going to answer the question so that we might be able to have a different view of what actually happened, or how we read things, or how we interpret things, or how words come out of our mouths that just didn't make sense. And we try to formulate them into making sense. That's what a mediator does. He doesn't put you down. He doesn't judge you. Never will judge you. Maybe in the back of our minds we're judging you, but we're never judging you in mediation, in the process of mediation. And that should be the view of the individuals in mediation. Let's not judge. Put all the judgment behind you. Leave your attitude at the door when you come into the mediation room, and let's pound it out professionally. kindly. Listening. Listening is the key. If you have a good attitude, you're going to listen. If you have a bad attitude, you're not going to listen. And nothing will get done. So it's attitude. Even when we're at home with our family and we have a dispute, sometimes you blow up, and a bunch of words come out, and what happens? Pretty soon the conflict has become a major dispute. I love the fact that we as human beings can change our attitude so that we can move forward and resolve issues. It's all about attitude. And you've seen the problems when you're at work, and sometimes you have a person with a bad attitude. What happens? It destroys everybody in the office. They become a bad attitude, and they don't know exactly what happened. But the problem is that attitude creates conflict. More conflict. We see it in churches. I just had a conversation with a friend that goes to church in California, and the pastor and several of the members wanted to bring in political situations into the church. Now, the church in the past has never taken a political position. Never. But they wanted to bring in Black Lives Matter. They wanted to bring in gay rights. They wanted to bring in all this stuff into the church. That church had never expressed an opinion. They just accepted you as you were. They never said anything. But then you have individuals that come in that want to make it a political issue within the church, and that creates conflict. And that creates a bad attitude within the whole congregation. You see, the problem is that when you come in with an attitude, you create conflict. And especially when you come into an organization with a political attitude, you create a disaster. So we have to be very careful about this attitude. So if you come before me in mediation, leave your attitude at the door, because we're going to talk about the nitty-gritty of where we're at on your case. That is what mediation is all about. That's why mediation is so successful. It's that communication process of that independent individual called a mediator that can help you and guide you through a conflict or a dispute. Listen, if you want to have more access to me, go to www.lodge.co.com. Again, that's www.lodge.co.com. You can see what I do. You can book a 30-minute free consultation there if you need it on business advisory or mediation. I'm there. I'm an open book. You can also listen to all my podcasts, and you can also read all my blogs that I write there every single day. This is Mike Lodge. I am the business advisor. Everybody go out today. Change your attitude. Attitude is the key to success. Do it. Mike Lodge, business advisor. Bye.